Hey there guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with another weekly Shlog. Look at this, it's 2 weeks in a row we've actually gotten one done and out on time. Super stoked about that. Sorry for all of the inconsistencies recently, but it's just been crazy. It's been summer and that's what it is. If you are new here, you found us because of some other video. This is our weekly shop vlog or Shlog, where we show you what happens at a small dirt bike shop in Montrose, Colorado, Western Colorado. Yeah, we show you tips, tricks, tool spotlights, mail time, all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, we're working on that thing this week. We're working on that thing this week. And maybe even that thing this week. So yeah, if that sounds like fun, maybe considering hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing, and all that good stuff. And here we go. Alright guys, as I said, we are going to be working on this lovely 300 XCW, or XC. I think it's an XC actually. Anyway, I need to talk to Kenneth. But anyway, this is shipped out here from our good friend Kenneth Keller from Tennessee, I believe is where he is. He wanted us to work on it because he watches our videos and he wanted us to put our special love on this thing. Also, Kenneth is a brother in Christ and he wanted one of us to do it. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do this thing. We're going to start actually by just checking the compression because we need to see whether or not it needs a top end. He went ahead and put a bunch of shiny stuff on it, stickers and things like that, but he did not go through the motor. And we got lots of things to do. So I'm going to right now do a compression check on that thing and see what that sits at, see if it's something that we should preemptively do a top end on or not. So let's get started there. We're going to take the seat and tank off. You guys might notice there are no radiator louvers on this bike right now. That's because we have radiator guards to put on. He just took those off. I think he got all new plastics and everything. I think this bike was relatively rough looking before he got it all set up. So he just put that, like I said, kind of the superficial stuff on to ship it out, and now we're going to go dig into it and make it nice. Guys, so you know, a compression test on a two-stroke is a very, very good thing, a very good way to test the motor and see how it's doing. It is not the best way to test a four-stroke. Four strokes, you really should be doing a leak down test on to see what's going on, because that way you can isolate where it's leaking, whether it's the rings or the valves, and you can kind of figure things out and get a better idea of how the condition of the engine. With a two-stroke, you can do leak down tests 100%, but really all you get with a leak down test is testing the crank seals because you don't get any ring. There's no information from the rings with a leak down test on a two-stroke because, well, if you know anything about two-strokes, everything is connected. The crankcase, the top end, everything is all, there's holes everywhere. So compression test is the way to test it. All right, we got our compression gauge screwed in there nice and tight so the O-ring seals there. Got our gauge right there. With all compression tests, guys, you got to hold the throttle wide open. So that's bumping up to around 150, which I think seems pretty good on an older 300. I'm going to go ahead and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and take the pipe off and look into the cylinder. That is another good way of making sure everything is good. Don't worry, this does look unoiled. It is unoiled. It's not even on there because he just slapped it in there for shipping. He's got a new cage, I believe, and he wants us to oil. In the instructions was us to oil that and make sure it's all good. So, all right, now let's take the pipe off and take a look in the cylinder. All right, guys, got the pipe off of the cylinder, and we're going to look up in here. I wish I could show you guys. I need to get, I don't know, some sort of camera to show you, but basically we're only able to look at the backside, the the ignition side, or the ignition, excuse me, the intake side of the cylinder. So it's not a full check, but usually if there's something real wrong, you'll be able to see it. So yeah, I'm gonna get my flashlight. We can get up in there and look. Fortunately, it's got a kickstarter, so we can roll it over there and we can check out the skirt of the piston and everything. Well, guys, I think I see something that does not make me super happy. There's some shatter marks, it looks like, on the intake side of the cylinder. Like, the piston skirt and piston look great, but there's a little bit of mark on that thing. And I know this guy wants this thing to be perfect, like perfect. So I think we're going to recommend getting that cylinder off, send it out to get replated, get a piston, and all that good stuff. So yeah, when we get that thing off, I'll show you guys. I have another bike I got to work on today, which I'll be bringing up here to show you guys. So I don't think I'm going to get this off here. I don't know. I might actually take it off here real fast. I think I'm going to take it off here. Yeah. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, guys, got the top end off. That was easy. It's a 300. It's simple. So you can see some kind of funky coloration here. I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, this is an older bike. Honestly, it could be corrosion. Who knows? Let me show you the cylinder. So you can see right there, there you go. Just that funky chatter, and you can feel it with your fingers. It's not real prominent, but you definitely feel it. So we're gonna get this thing replated. This side of it actually looks good. The exhaust side looks fine. Some discolorations, but nothing bad. But that's the part that I really don't like. And then underneath here, you kind of, I don't know if you guys can see that. You can not quite feel, I don't know, it's hard to tell. Like, take something hard, you can just maybe barely tell any difference between here and there. So anyway, it's not a brand new bike, and that's no big deal. We're just going to get everything and send that thing off and have Millennium take care of it. All right, guys, next on the lift is the 2024 TE Pro, Husky TE Pro. Super excited about this one. Good friend of ours just bought this because he got a smoking deal on it because they're having crazy blowouts on the 24s. So yeah, this thing's rad. We got a bunch of stuff to do to it. Some of the big stuff are Mako 360 with a stabilizer sub mount. We also have the R Enduro easy clutch. I got some guards and stuff from Bulletproof Designs. And yeah, a bunch of other little things like that. So let's get after it. We're going to start by taking the front end off of this thing so we can get the stabilizer frame bracket on, and then we'll worry about getting the Mako 360 and all that stuff. So first things first, we're going to I got to take everything off these bars because the R Enduro easy clutch, all this has to come off to work for that. So let's get to it. All right, we got everything off. Wheel is chalked up, and there's just the weight off the bike. The thing about doing this job is that if you have the bike fully on the stand, like full weight on it, this cocks when you take it off. It tries to do this, and it's really hard to get it back on. So if you've got a stand, adjustable stand like that, that's a Fly one. It's pretty sweet. You can raise and lower the the deck on it, so I got it to where there's just the weight off of it. It's not in the air, but it's also not resting on, you know, its full weight. We've got that wheel chock, so it can't roll out like that. So now we're good. Now we're gonna grab our Scott steering stabilizer and the frame bracket and get that on there. Then we'll start going back together. Got to get this off and get our Mako all set up. So anyway, let's go get some parts. Guys, I like the fact that Scott stabilizers still come with paper instructions and pictures. It is so nice not to have to pull up a QR code or something like that. Anyway, this is really, really nice. These things have changed a crazy amount to fit these new frames. So much more involved in the old style, like kind of steel. These are aluminum. The older ones were steel, just clamped on. You might have to do a little bit of work to the frame to buzz off some. Anyway, that thing, this is nuts. All right, guys, the pictures and everything says make sure we put some blue thread locker on there. So we got our blue stuck nuts. While that's off, I'm gonna put a little more grease down into the bearing, although it looks pretty darn good. So I'm gonna go ahead and grease it up just a little bit more. All right, now we're taking the triple clamp apart. Got to get these rubber mounts all out of here. And we're going to get our Mako 360 because it's all solid mounted since the bars are then rubber. Anyway, you know. Guys, I always like to save these just in case customer ever sells the bike and wants to take the cool guy stuff off. They can, you know, keep it and, you know, have them back. So it's nice just in case that, or if they don't want it, I keep it just in case someone bends one of these things and needs a new one. If you guys have watched this channel very long, you know that I'm a massive fan of the Mako 360. Yeah, they're absolutely the best. Now, they sent me the wrong one. I'm gonna have to go check. I'm pretty sure I have the email discussing. They sent me one for a top mount stabilizer, but we got one for a sub mount stabilizer because they don't have a top mount stabilizer set up. All right, I'll be right back. That sucks. So it turns out I was emailing Lisa Smith, Lance's wife, about this whole thing, and I originally emailed saying I needed a top mount stabilizer set up because this gentleman wanted to keep his bars the same height and all that stuff. Then it turns out they don't make a top mount from Scotch yet. They don't make a top mount frame bracket yet for the new bikes. So I emailed them back before I paid the invoice. I emailed them back, said, hey, turns out I actually need a sub mount for this thing, and could you send me that? And then it was a couple days later, or a day later, I got the invoice. I paid the invoice, and it showed up. So problem was that Lisa, it was like I said, it was probably a couple days later that I emailed back to let them know that I needed the sub mount. Unfortunately, the thing had already gotten into process, and Lisa did not get that email, or at least didn't convey that message to the rest of the folks there. So anyway, we ended up with the wrong one. That's okay. XC Gear is honestly one of the best companies I have ever worked with. They are shipping me a new one out right now. It's going to leave today, get here hopefully. Gosh, I might even get here before the weekend. And then I am sending the other one back. They're going to credit me and be all good to go. So that's unfortunate mistake. I will take the responsibility for not just calling them and making sure that that got done. That's my fault for that one. So unfortunately, we got a couple more days to wait. But while we're doing that, we can do a couple other things. We got a JX8 tire to put on this thing. We have flange protector. We have a brake cooler, power valve cover protector, and then honestly my favorite modification to any bike I've ever done is this little S3 brake squishy thing, and I'll show you how that goes. If you've watched this channel and watched me build Loretta, the Game Changer, the 300XC, you know that that's like my favorite thing I ever did to that motorcycle. So yeah, so we'll just keep on rocking and rolling. All right, guys, we got the brake cooler on. These things actually really work. I run one on my KTM. It works amazing. It's not the end-all be-all. If you're a real bad brake dragger, you can definitely still overheat a brake, but this thing helps a ton. And especially if you're running the insulator on the brake pads here and you run that, it actually helps keep from losing the rear brakes. So got that all installed. I need to clean it up. That's why this is still not on. Got to clean all that stuff up. But now we are installing the squishy brake thing. It's basically just a brake spring. It's just an elastomer. I just take this off. You just unbolt the bolt that goes into the pedal. Unscrew this thing, put the top of this black piece where the bottom of this was so that you're at the same height. You might still have to redo it. Honestly, they're kind of a pain to adjust. You can't do it from the outside. You got to take it off, whatever, because when you do this, you can't get to anything. But we should be really close. All right, so we need to drop that down just a little bit more. And what I do, guys, is I leave this spring on here. It doesn't hurt to have two springs, but also that helps hold the pedal up and in the position that he liked having it, right? So now we're just going to take this and drop this down. So it's a 12 on the bottom, and the main plunger part is a 10 still. And we're just going to go down a little bit. The Lloyd, what's happening, man?
Well, I have a question for you.
Right on. I will have an answer. Hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah. you know those...
All right. Oh, man. All right, guys. We got the super rad JX8 all mounted up on some moose balls. Front already has moose balls in it. This actually already had moose balls in it, but we remounted those up with the JX8, so he's got some super sticky traction. Got our brake squishy there, and we've got that rad part covering up the power valve, protecting that thing from Bulletproof Designs. Huge thank you to those guys. And now, last Bulletproof Designs part for now, because it already has radiator guards, is a flange protector. So we're going to get that on to protect the flange in case you hit something really hard. And then we're going to wait for the Mako 360. I have checked, and it should be here Friday. So we're going to hopefully get this thing done and ready to go by the end of the Shlog, and more importantly for this guy's trip this weekend. So I think that's it for now. So I'm going to get this done. Nothing special about that flange protector and installing that. We'll get that on there, and then we'll get on to the next job. All right, guys, I got to show you something that's pretty cool that we got to do a little bit of work on today. Zach got to do it. Yeah, so first one of these I have seen here in Montrose. Boom! The Stark Varg thing is actually pretty freaking sweet. They did not bring the little controller with it, so I have no idea like what power mode, although I figured out how to change, at least somewhat change the power modes with the buttons here going up and down, and I made it really fast, like real fast. So yeah, that thing is bad to the bone. I wish the range was better on them, but you know, that's coming. I'm sure that's the wave of the future at some point, but I'm gonna stick with my internal combustion motors for now, because I like to ride more than 20 miles or 30 miles. Someone's gonna get on here, oh, I did 46 miles, whatever. I like to be able to do 80, 87, 90, whatever. So, but that thing's cool. But let me show you something that I found interesting. So the reason it was here is it had a flat. And so Mr. Sheets, the Sheetsy Poo, there he is, brought it in, yanked the wheel off, and this was what was in it. This is like paper. It's made in Austria, so that's nice, not China. And it's OEM product, not for sale in aftermarket. But yeah, that thing is terrible. I wouldn't run that in a mountain bike. Like, I don't know, for 15,000 bucks, I think that's what the Starks cost. You'd think they would have a better way of lightening up the rear wheel, because I'm sure that's what it is. And someone, I posted that on Facebook. Someone's like, "Oh, but the rotating mass is so much better, so much." Yeah, fair enough. Except for when you get a flat. I don't care what the rotating mass is. If you have a flat, it sucks. So, to me, that's ridiculous, because that is way too prone to flats. A heavy-duty tube would be infinitely better, even if it is heavier. So, also, guys, show you something real fast. Whet your appetite. I still can't talk about it. If you've been watching the channel long, you know what that was about. But now I have two setups like that, one for the KTM, one for the Beta, and I'm amped. So the next job actually on the lift is the carburetor on this. Let's go grab the carburetor out of the ultrasonic, get it clean, and get it on there. All right, shiny, shiny carburetor. Got a new kit from All Balls. Again, if you haven't been here long, you'll know that I'm not a huge fan of All Balls, like wheel bearings and things like that, but their carburetor kits are actually pretty darn good. We're not going to be using everything out of this kit, because it's actually not that bad. The whole bike's not that terrible, so, but we'll be using the important stuff like flow ball gasket. We got a new needle. I'm going to leave the jets that are in here because it's already been jetted for this elevation, and they're clean now. Go ahead and take the old fuel screw out, because this comes with new spring, O-ring, and washer, and that is always a fail point on, I swear, every bike. With a fuel screw, guys, it's always spring, washer, O-ring. That is always the order. So the first thing in is the O-ring. So, but onto the screw it goes spring, washer, O-ring. I'm not using that clip for the needle because I'm leaving the needle in there because the needle's fine. And I always start at 2 out, which might be a little rich, but that way I just know that it's going to get plenty of gas at idle, and then we can tune it after that. All right, let's go get this back on the bike. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. Sorry I didn't do the normal outro. I got crazy busy. That CRF ran great. The TE300 Pro, I did not get the mount for it in time, so I just put the normal handlebars back on it so he could take it to Taylor Park this weekend and ride it. No stabilizer, no Mako 360, but that's all right. Yeah, it's actually going to show up today. It's Monday. We'll get that on there this week for him. Yeah, guys, another great Shlog, I think. Let me know in the comments what you think about these Shlogs, especially if you're new here. All you guys have been around for a long time that love it. I'd love to hear your comment too, but I know you guys love it. I'd like to hear from the new guys and girls out there that are watching these things, and let me know what you think about these weekly shop vlogs. Guys, lots of stuff coming this week on the channel, so make sure you stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and the thumbs up. And yeah, as always, guys, I hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels. And I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on, but more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes! Sorry about my voice.